Yeah, and my business made it through 2 COVID shutdowns. And
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I have Tricia, and she is a professional rugby player in the World Cup. And now, starting in 2005, she got into professional boxing, and now she owns her own boxing gym. So I'm very, very excited to have her on the show because we haven't spoken to a professional boxing gym as of yet, and especially a female, professional boxer around this, because typically gym space that we've spoken to are owned by men. So I'm very excited to speak to her today, and I'm sure she have a lot of cool stuff to share with us. So Tricia, could you share with us a little bit of your background and how did you get started in this business?
I played rugby, as you mentioned. It was actually amateur. Basically, I paid to play for my country, so a lot of us went into debt to represent our country in the sport of women's rugby. But it was a great experience. Traveled all over, loved competition, and even more, I loved contact. The contact of part of the sport was the best part. When I retired from playing, I played over 10 years. It was I was missing something in my life, so I started boxing fitness and I started sparring, and then I was hooked, and the coach asked me if I wanted to compete. So I started as an amateur, boxed amateur for 3 years. Then I boxed pro when I turned 34, and I had my first pro debut when I was 35. Had a bunch of great fights. Got to fight the likes of Dakota Stone, who fought Christy Martin. I fought Lisa Hollowan. I fought Holly Holm, and I fought Mary Jo Sanders. So they were all really good fighters that I got to fight during my career, and I had a blast. And now I just coach and run a fitness gym and have competitive boxers as well.
Yeah. What was the best part about being a professional boxer and competing, now that you look back, and what's like the best thing that gave you the most like joy and feelings?
Honestly, the training. The training is so hard and it's so fun, but it's so rewarding. And I liked fighting a lot. I just didn't like the pomp and circumstance. So I'm not much of a ring walk person. I'm not a showy, flashy person. I just loved fighting. The fighting part was awesome. So when I did the training, it was more just really me digging in, and I really enjoyed it.
So now after you retire, are you still boxing, or are you retired now from boxing?
I don't compete. I'm retired from competition. I still train. I still stay fit, try to lead by example. I don't really spar very much. I've spent a lot of my days getting hit in the head, so I figure I'm good. They can get hit in the head now.
So what made you decided to open your own, boxing arena, gym, and you start training and coaching others?
Well, I managed the boxing gym that I competed at as an amateur, and I managed it for a while, and I really grew that business, and I grew the business quite well. So I started thinking, man, I could probably do this. Like, I think I could do this, and there's things I want to do differently, and you just can't when you work for somebody. Sometimes if they want it run a certain way, you don't get much autonomy. So I think I wanted more autonomy, and I took the leap and left there and started my own gym. It was quite the leap.
So can you tell me and the audience that what was working so well at the gym where you were working at, and that has helped them grow, super fast?
I think my focus on community. I'm not a numbers first person. I'm a people's first person, and the numbers, they come along. Of course, I want to pay my bills, but most importantly, I want to develop people, and I want people to be able to have accountability in their lives. Because if they have accountability in their lives, like in a sport like boxing, that'll trickle over into the rest of their life, and then theoretically, they'll be better people in society, giving back to society. So that's really my main focus is communities. That works every time, anywhere I go. It just seems to be my way.
Can you elaborate a little more on the accountability, right? So how are you implementing accountability into boxing?
Well, one thing is, I love this. My coaches send people home if they show up late to class. I don't know how many people are brave enough to send people home for showing up to a fitness class late, but I love that. We're serious about our training. You show up late, they send them home. And, in a consumer driven market, that's kind of a scary thing to do, but it works really well. And people show up on time now. So I like it. That's accountability. Uh, they have to, if they're going to work on their skills and they want to get in the ring and spar, they have to be focused. They have to train diligently to be ready for the ring, or at least have an experience of getting hit in the face. We encourage everybody to get in the ring at least once and have a sparring experience so they know what it's like to get hit in the face and know how they respond.
I gotta say, I love it. I love the late protocol because I think not just your gym, but a lot of like competitive, I would say, sport gym that compete in the national and international level, they have a similar like rule. If you the training start at 7 a.m., not 7:01, not 7:02. If you're a minute late, it's late.
Yes.
Go home.
Yeah,
I love that.
yep, I don't jive with that. And I was doing that with my competitive boxers, and then my competitive boxers coach my fitness classes. So they trickled it over into fitness classes, and I'm honestly just tickled. I love it.
And I think, do you see how that just like the small piece in the training, but it has such a large impact in the the student focus and a priority, right? If you prioritize something so much, which is the training, it should be that priority thing you always think about, and you should never be late to that one, right?
Yes, yeah, it should be. Basically, I tell people if they're showing up late or if they aren't on weight where they're supposed to be as a competitor, I just tell them basically what you're telling me is that you don't want to compete or that you don't want to be here. And since you don't want to be here, you should just go home. And if you want to be here, you'll be here early. You'll be ready to go when the bell rings. And I definitely live by that principle myself.
Yeah, I really, really love it because it's so easy to give in and be and just accept that it's okay to be average, right? But over here, there's no okay for being average. You got to be early, right? On time is like it's like late, kind of like on time is late, but you got to be here early, okay?
That's the way I definitely think about things. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. So what is the other part is you mentioned about community. Can you elaborate on what do you mean by you building the community?
Well, for one, it's about being genuinely interested in each person and what they're trying to accomplish in your space. Um, I always say I control space, I don't control people. So there's a vibe at my space in my gym. That's what I control. I want it to be a certain way, have a certain feeling, where people can come in and just work and just be boxers. You're not a label. I'm not a female boxing coach. I'm just Tricia, and I'm in there training. You're so and so. You're in there training. You're not any ethnicity. You're not any class of money. You're nothing but a boxer, and you come in and you do your thing. And that's an important aspect to community. That way, everybody can bring their own expression into the space and use it. And if they can do that, then that brings such richness to the space. And you can it's palpable. If you walk in the gym, people tell me, man, this place feels good. I'm there all the time. I don't feel what they feel, but I understand. I've built that. And my coaches built that. Every person's greeted. We fist bump when we greet. I think rituals are important in community. We fist bump when we greet and when we say goodbye. We know our clients' names by their first name. We know what they're working on. All the coaches, we want to help them become much fitter, much better boxers, whether they're going to compete or not. And we treat them as such. That's a big part of building community. Folks that can't afford it, nobody knows who can and cannot afford the gym dues. I control the sponsorship, and they just sign in like anybody else, so nobody knows. That's an important part of the community. You can't just have people who can afford it coming to your gym. The gym in boxing is historically for people of the people, and that's how I want to keep it.
I gotta say that that is so important I mean like that just you know, you're building the community, you're giving sponsorship to, you know, individuals who are a star, right? And they can't afford it yet, but you are putting out the time and the effort into training this individual. Could you talk to me more about like how did you install that vibe that you mentioned about like that, like rules, house rules over here, this is who we are, this is what we do? How did you install that into the customer, you know, the people who come to your gym?
Just leadership and consistency. Like if I am that way all the time, people see me being consistent that way all the time, facing my mistakes all the time, showing people what it's like to be human, to make errors, adjust, and keep moving, what it's like to be successful and keep moving. I just show that in my daily interactions. When I first started the gym, I showed up every day, and there'd be times nobody would show up for class, and I would just sit there like, what have I done? And I thought, man, just fill it with space. You know, fill it with people, put people in here. So I just started inviting people. I knew people that couldn't afford it. Come box. I got you. Come by. I started filling it with people that didn't pay at all. The gym looked busy. People driving by, see a busy gym. The paying customers started coming in. And it helped me sustain then my non-paying customers. And everybody was just as important. So I just did that day after day after day.
Wow. So up until now, it's been I think over, you know, a decade of running your gym. What has been the, I would say, the best takeaway that has helped you, you know, get to where you are today?
Don't try to change others, change yourself, and the rest will happen. I've never gotten anywhere by trying to get somebody else to be a certain kind of way. That's stupid and it's a waste of energy. But if I'm in a conflict or a situation and I'm not enjoying the outcome, I look at myself. How did I contribute to it? And what can I do differently so that I can either uh, not have the conflict or handle the conflict better? Either way. And that has been the biggest takeaway. If I got a problem, it's the person in the mirror that's the problem. That's how I operate my life, how I operate my gym, and it's worked really well. And I don't have kids, so it's forced me to grow up.
That I think that's like the that just reminded me of a book that I love to read. Is Extreme Ownership, right? Well, everything,
That's my mentality.
yeah,
Extreme. Yeah.
everything is your fault.
Basically, yeah.
I love it.
I do think like that. I don't really think in terms of like blame and fault and blame, but I can only control my participation in an event, and so why not take extreme accountability? Because I can then choose: do I want to be in that situation again or not? And then I have autonomy, and if I'm aware of my environment, then I can see how my environment affects me. Then I can make better conscious choices. And that's just what I try to do on the daily.
And also, this is something that I just picked up right now is you're very, very approachable, and you seem like you're a tough, you know, tough gal, but the moment I speak with you, I feel very warm. I'm like, yeah, this gal is very transparent. She's honest, and she's very approachable, very fun to be around. And I think that's why your gym is successful because of that. Because you're there and you be like, hey, this is me.
Yeah, I think that helps. My coaches are like that too. They're all very approachable. I've taught them I've taught them all how to it's okay to make mistakes. I don't tell them how to coach. They don't have to coach any certain way. If they follow the principles of greeting people, of being interested in people, in coaching people, in holding themselves accountable, they can coach any way they want. And I know it will help because it'll bring in different demographics. My coaches having different styles brings in different demographics. If it's just me coaching, I'm going to bring in a certain kind of person. I might get a few people on the fringes, but that doesn't enrich my life very much. I like diversity. I would rather sit on a porch watching tons of different people go by and having little interactions than I would to be in a nice, cozy house where everybody looks like me and I don't interact. That wouldn't be a good time to me.
Yeah, I think it's really really smart and clever by recruiting the coaches and training them and let them be their own individual, unique way. And they can attract their own, I would say, network, audiences, influences, right? As long as
Yeah.
they're operating under your house rules, and then you're good.
Yeah. We got a little basset hound
Let me see
photo.
your dog.
That's Moose. That's
Oh.
one. He goes to the gym every day too. I got two basset hounds and a little
Yeah.
dog, and they go to the gym with me every day. That's also part of the part
Yeah,
of.
I love it. So as we're coming to the end of the interview here on the podcast, I really want to ask you, what is the three best advice you can give to another, business owners, not just gyms, because I think, what you share with me is very foundational in a lot of successful business that we spoke with. Like,
Yes.
what would be your top three takeaway, that you can give advice to grow a business?
Make sure you talk to other business owners of all trades. Make sure when you delegate that you're delegating because you want somebody to grow into a position, and therefore you're going to still stay invested in what they're doing. You don't just give it away and walk away. That's number two. And then number three, ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want today? What is what you're doing today going to help you accomplish what you want later on? If it is, do it. If it isn't, change it up. And I think those three principles really steer me well, and they keep me grounded, and I have structure.
Thank you for that. So like the last point that you mentioned is I would really want to highlight what do you want to achieve today, what do you want to achieve in the future, and only put your effort and energy towards the desired outcome. Like that is so crucial to I think all business owners is you cannot focus on the negative of the business, because that's where it's like when you're driving, right? Wherever you look, that's where you're going. So like, I mean, it's great that you mentioned that. Put all the effort and focus to where you want the desired outcome to be, and that's where you should focus on. Because if that's where your head is, your body will follow, right? So if you
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's crucial in anything I try to achieve. Say, if I want to get fitter, if I need to rest that day, will resting help me achieve what I want? Yes, okay, rest. If it won't, I'll go train then. Like, it's just really, I think I ask myself two questions. I always say, uh, is this thing that's happening, is it something I just need to endure discomfort, or do I need to make a change? If I do one of those things, I can do it, and then I ask myself, is this going to give me what I want? Yeah. So I think, like, maybe just the bottom line is I really ask myself a lot of questions all the time.
I think it's very it's not unusual, because I ask myself questions like that all the time. For example, on the weekends, typically, I usually work on the weekends. By working, I'm not working, but I'm reading books. I'm studying, right? I'm putting knowledge into here. And there are times, friends and family want to hang out and have some drinks. And then I'll ask myself, I really want to go drink, but I really want to accomplish this new goal. I want to study this material that I want to, start next week. Is this going to help me or is it not going to help me? You know, if it does help me, then sure, I'll go have fun. But if it doesn't serve me, then I don't think I can go. I'll just sound hate no. I think
Yeah, that's good.
no. That's a quick
That,
example.
yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like we have to like put ourselves in so many questions, yes and no. Like you have to say no so many times for us to achieve what we want, because it's not easy. All this stuff that we're doing is not easy. It's not easy for the ordinary folks. That's why there's the average 9 to 5 people. It's easy to do that, but being an
Yeah,
entrepreneur is hard.
it is hard. And I never viewed being a 9 to 5er very easy myself either. I think I always had the entrepreneurial mindset. I do everything I do 100%, and I try to do as much as I can just that, because how am I going to know if I really want to do it if I'm filtering a bunch of other stuff in? how am I going to know if this method really works if I'm filtering a bunch of other stuff in? I need to do this thing, and I need to do this thing 100%. Then I can get as much feedback as I can, and then I can make a better decision. And literally, that's really all life is. It's being in an environment, taking in information, giving output, seeing what happens, and repeating the process over and over again. It's not too difficult. And I'm lucky. I own my own business. I can do that not too difficult thing over and over again, and just follow what I want to do.
One last question I just thought about is the what we just talked about right now is giving, take actions and get feedback and analyze it and then take action again. Is that something that is crucial in fighting? Like when you're boxing, you're analyzing the opponent and you're taking feedback. Is that what it is?
Crucial, split second. You have to do it without thinking about. You have to really, what I call, seeing space. And I think in American culture, we look at objects too much. We look at the object and we don't even really see it because we're looking at it. But in other cultures, I've learned to look at space and to look at the negative space. And then when you look at the negative space, you actually see more and you can interpret more on a body level much quicker than trying to analyze it really mentally. You do a little bit of analysis. Maybe when you go back to the corner and you talk to your coach in the corner, there could be a little verbal analysis, but it has to be a physically understood analysis that could be physically applied in a split second.
That just, I think, like my first business book, I don't know if you know this book, but it's called Jab Jab Hook from Gary Vee.
Awesome.
It's a great marketing book that uses the same method as a boxing. You jab before you throw a hook, and it's the same way of in marketing. It's like, hey, look, you try a couple of things and it's gonna hurt. You might get punched in the face. But don't do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell, forgive my language, but I tell my boxers, y'all better be ready to shovel shit. You're gonna have to shovel shit for 2 minutes before you get something good. Like keep shoveling, do that work. You do the work, and the good thing will pop up for you. You'll take advantage of it in the moment because you did all that shoveling.
And the most important thing is, like, you're not gonna find out if you don't shovel. If you're not, you will never find out if you don't put yourself out there and get feedback. And yes, you might get punched in your nose, in your mouth, right? But it's a part of the process, right?
Yeah, part of the process. Yeah, for sure.
Get on with it, and and move along. You just don't be complaining. It's part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah, and my business made it through 2 COVID shutdowns, and the gym flooded during that period too. So at this point in time, yeah, nothing phases me. So I don't even care. I'm just gonna keep moving.
I love it so much, and I'm sure this is you are the reason why the gym is so successful, because you are a leader in the gym and you're putting talents around you, and the perception of you in the community is very strong. This is, like, we call it the reputation of the local marketing, right?
Yeah. I interact with all the business owners in the area. I make sure I stop in and see people in businesses. Yeah, I encourage my coaches to be leaders. Definitely, I've definitely set up a good crew. It's taken me a lot of mistakes to set up a good crew, but man, have I learned about boundaries, and is it awesome? And now I have the staff I want, and I'm just enjoying myself working hard now.
Well, thank you so much, Tricia. I absolutely have a blast talking to you. I had a lot of fun, and we, I always, I think you confirmed this. I always wondering about, like, fighting and boxing, how much a similarity it has in a business, in like business marketing, and it really does. Like, as we discussed right now, because the business is a livelihood of of the owner, and they are willing to, like you said earlier, throw some jabs and take some punches in the face and keep moving on. It is part of the process. So I'm so glad that we had this discussion. Yeah.
Me too. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Tricia. We'll see you next time, and thank you for the listener that tuned in today. And I'll see you guys next episode.